Jones sits in behind the boss seat, and then Mark Scaife, who was the quickest earlier in the week but dropped off the pace slightly when the real practice started. Larry Perkins, Bathurst winner, ready to go alongside Reed. And there's Pearson, Finnegan, Waldock back in a good-looking car too. There's 5 cars here within 7/10 of each other, so this will be a real battle. That's the view out of Larry Perkins's car, the Holden Commodore, and we'll get some pretty good shots out of there. And look at the crowd here at Eastern Creek. Blue skies, plenty of sunshine. Oh, they're having fun in the sun at the creek. Wait for the big boys to come out to play. Massive crowd here, fabulous to see, and plenty of action. Motorbikes, motor cars and drags a little later on this evening. And Wayne, it's great to see them turning out on a day like this at the creek.
It certainly is, particularly this early in the season. You know, most teams are sort of trying to get ready, and so there's a good quality field there. It will be a little larger later on the season, but it's a good field, and I think it's going to prove to be spectacular racing.
Glenn Seaton has just been sensational. He won here in a Sierra, he's won in the Falcon. He's never dropped the heat, as you mentioned, off the top of this race, and he really just loves this place, and this car suited. Now, talk to us about the new wing package, because that looks interesting, particularly on the front spoiler.
Well, the Falcons have done a lot of work over the Christmas break, and you can see on the front of the spoiler of the car there now, got little tips. That's to give it a lot more downforce on the front, and obviously also to balance that out, they've got a bigger rear wing, as you can see there on the entry to the corner. It's similar size now to the Holden. There was a lot of controversy over whether they should have it or not, but it's been approved by CAMS now, and obviously what happens is it gives the car a lot more downforce. By the front corner tips there, you can see that protrude out from the bumper, and obviously from the bigger rear wing. So I think the Falcon's going to be a pretty tough package to beat in this race, particularly with Glenn driving.
I know you're going to be running Holdens in the Touring Car Series throughout the year. I think it's a fabulous move, though, to bring the Falcon up to the specs, because really, Holden's won, I think, 7 out of the last 8 races. I know Ford's had the jump at the start of the year, but now the balance, the whole package looks better balanced now.
Well, very much. It wasn't a lot in it. The Holden's probably had 2 or 3 tenths on it, and now with the wings that they've allowed the Falcon to have, they've probably picked up 2 or 3 tenths. So I think it's going to prove to be a very, very tough and competitive season, and I really would not like to choose a winner out of all of these.
Well, of course, these are only heats, and this is race 1, 5 laps. And very important you finish in a good position. The grids are drawn off for the next one. That's Glenn Seaton, the baby-faced assassin, as they call him. Looks so young, so experienced, and wants to retain his proud record here. Jimmy Richards, almost the best consistent driver in Australia in touring cars, in any condition. Waiting for the start. Reds. A little creep from Richards. Green, let's all go. Richards off the line. AJ, Alan Jones up the inside with a great start. Oh, AJ came from nowhere. Got it down and leads him into the first corner. The crowd pretty happy about that. Seaton comes in behind him, and then it's Jimmy Richards. What about AJ off the line?
I think it must be that weight loss program AJ's been on, because he's certainly quick off the mark, and he's got the head down, and looks like he's trying real hard, so he's leaving black marks everywhere, so he's pushing real hard on the first lap.
Oh, he said before the start of the race, I'm feeling good, Daz. The car's feeling good. He was very happy with it in race trim in the warm-up this morning, and he made a great start. You don't take Jimmy Richards off the line from pole that often. He came from the second row behind the boss.
AJ's pushing real hard. As I said, he's pushing hard on the first lap. He's actually made a bit of a gap on Glenn, and the 2 Falcons have actually slipping away a touch from Jimmy. So it's not over yet. It's still a long way to go, but AJ's certainly pushing real hard early on.
Well, there he is, the former world champion. You can see the brake locking up pretty dramatically there. He's really throwing it around. He loves this car. He loves it. He said it slides and it does all the things that he likes a motor car to do. Plenty of dust from the back of the pack. No worries. They all get through, though. But AJ likes the V8s. He loves the grunt. He likes the instant power. He doesn't mind the car moving around.
No, AJ likes to work the car real hard, work suspension, where Glenn's a little bit more conservative. He's a lot more smooth than AJ, but AJ gets the result, so it doesn't matter what type of driver it is, it's the result that matters.
And AJ, plenty of support here. The crowd in front of us stood up as he leads them around through the left-hander again. Glenn Seaton behind him. If anything, I reckon he's made a couple of metres on Seaton again. The Winfield Holdens tucked him behind, but, well, they can't do much about the Falcons at the moment. They're running 1 and 2. So it's Ford 1 and 2, Holden 3 and 4. That's looking from Mark Scaife's point of view. Car number 2, the Holden Commodore, sitting in behind Jimmy Richards and also Glenn Seaton. And there's the gap actually from 4th back into 1st place. So one little bit of mistake here and you get swallowed up pretty quickly.
It certainly is. You know, this is what it's all about, is trying to keep it nice and clean and tidy, not get it too sideways, not burn your tyres up. Obviously use as much track as you can. A couple of guys are using even the curbs, and that's what you have to do these days to win these races and also preserve the cars.
Well, wonderful start from Alan Jones. He was sitting in behind Glenn Seaton on the 2nd row, just blasted up the inside. Now Richards starts to close in on Seaton, so Richards getting a little bit closer.
I think this is what it's going to happen all season. I think this is how close it's going to be all year between the Ford and the Holden. And, I think this is a great opener for the season, and believe me, it's going to be a tough series out there. In fact, I'm getting rather nervous sitting here watching it. I wished I was out there.
And of course, a new team owner in this year's Touring Car Series. That'll be Wayne Gardner running 2 cars. He and Neil Crompton, and lots of details to come out shortly.
That's right. Our press launch for our team is on February 16, and our first race will be at Amarillo on February 27. So Neil and myself are looking forward to the season, and hopefully we'll come with a big impact.
I can tell you, folks, this team is big time. He has not spared a dollar. It's going to be worth waiting for. Okay, there he is, number 1, unbeatable so far in this Winfield Triple Challenge Series since it started. But AJ's got his cash today so far in Heat 1. Glenn Seaton running 2nd to Alan Jones. The 2 Peter Jackson cars out in front. The 2 Winfield cars trailing them. Jimmy Richards throwing it around. Well, he doesn't throw cars around, he just glides them around. Larry Perkins looking from his point of view. And it's Jones, Seaton, Richards, Scaife and Reed.
You can see there Larry using all the curb. He's got the inside wheel up over the curb. That's quite easy to do, because what happens is you're turning in hard. Obviously the weight comes off the inside, and the car doesn't actually jump over the curbs, it glides over it, because all the weight is basically transferred to the other side of the car. So it's a good thing to do, and you can use more track that way.
He's back in 6th spot at the moment, Larry Perkins, which is a bit unusual for Larry, but there's a lot of heat in this circuit today. It's a very hot day out here at the creek. Well,
that also plays on part of the tyre choice, because, you know, if you choose a too soft a tyre, obviously it works good early in the race, but as the race goes on, and particularly if it's a hot day, then the harder the tyre, the better it is. So tyre choices are very, very important, and also the weather conditions.
Lap 4, you're riding down the main straight there with Larry Perkins. Bathurst winner. What a popular win that was at Bathurst too. You can see the line getting changed as Larry closes in. What's it like taking a touring car to that left-hander?
It's pretty hectic, you know. You've got to force yourself in there, and you've got to rely on the car.
Perkins has a look on the outside. I don't think he'll make it from there, though. No,
that's pretty hard, difficult pass to pass here. But at the end of the straight, it's 5th gear. You brake reasonably hard, but you've also got to carry some speed through there. So it's a very difficult corner. If you can get it right, it certainly picks your lap time up a lot.
Alaska another way. What's it? Oh, out we go. Car number 3 gone. Absolutely gone. Steve Reed has the big lose, and Larry just got underneath him. And Steve Reed, that's a shame, because he tries hard, Steve Reed, in this team. They really do. They don't have the money of the big factories, and they really do try very hard.
Well, for a private team, they're very, very competitive. So,
well, here, let's have a look at it again. Wayne?
Yeah, well, Larry's gone up the inside, and he's probably given him a little bit of a touch there, and obviously it's enough. Yeah, see, he's touched him. Larry's front indicator pushed him round, and he's lost it. There's little Steve could do there, just hang on to it and obviously try to avoid a wall.
Yeah, bad luck for Steve Reed. This is lap 4 of this event. Alan Jones still in front. I'm going to re-ask that question again as they come on the main straight. You've just told us what it's like to go down the touring car. What's it like to compared to a touring car to a 500?
Well, 500, your heart's probably more in your mouth. The touring car's a little bit easier and a little bit probably not as frightening, but a 500 around that particularly fast corner at the end of the straight is certainly not a pleasant thing.
You're a rare breed, Wiz. You've done them both. There's not many that can boast that.
No. But it's a lot of fun. Obviously, driving touring cars is not as obviously not as dangerous, and it's still a lot of fun. And for me, it's just a new direction and a new future I've set myself.
Mark Scaife following Jimmy Richards, his teammate. There they are, the two red cars. Final lap now. Well, this is a shake-up because remember, grid spots hinge on how you fix. And look at the start that Alan Jones made from the second row. What's it going to be like from the front row? It was a bullet start. Scaife trying to improve the position, takes on Jimmy Richards. Just can't get there, though. He knows if he can improve his spot, he'll get a better start. They're racing, these two, no doubt about it. Scaife comes over the top of the barrel. He get the line. I think he will. Yes, he gets under Jimmy Richards. Well, there's no love lost here because they're fighting for a grid spot for the second race. So Mark Scaife bumps himself up one. Jimmy Richards, who started on the outside of the front row, has been blasted back to fourth. AJ still leads from Glenn Seaton. Now Mark Scaife in third. Fourth, Jimmy Richards.
AJ's actually just walked away. He's made a gap on Glenn, and he's driving very tidily, looking after the car, looking after the tyres. That's what a world champions do. He's performing very well, and it's a well-deserved win.
Comes down the main chute now to take the checkered flag. He'll be absolutely delighted, AJ. Honestly, he just loves driving these touring cars, and he just said, Glenn Seaton has given me equal machinery to drive. I can't ask for any more than that. He will be over the moon. Results now, Group A touring cars, race number one. AJ Alan Jones in the Falcon. Takes the big points from his teammate Glenn Seaton, also in a Falcon. Mark Scaife in the Commodore third. Jimmy Richards came in fourth, and Larry Perkins a fighting fifth. Pit side, Barry Sheen here with a race winner.
My hero, AJ. How about that second row of the grid?
Well, Baz, I've always been your hero, you know that.
Somebody, Wayne and Darryl were saying it's the new Jenny Craig weight loss program you're on.
Well, there's a free plug if nothing else. No, I mean, I'm concentrating on getting my fitness right. And although I went to America for 3 weeks and had the old famous donut breakfast and everything, so I've put on a couple of kilos, but I'll get that back off again.
Yes, I was watching the race, the ultimate ex-Formula One professional, really.
Well, you're only saying that because it's true.
Best of luck, Ace.
Okay,
how's the second one? Tyres all right and everything?
Yeah, tyres felt pretty good, actually. The whole car felt good. It's a bit of a worry. You know, it was a bit too easy, but I'm sure it's not going to be that easy all day because it's going to be down to who's got some tyres left at the last race. That's what it's going to be all about.
Best of luck, AJ.
Thanks, mate.
There he is, the race winner, Alan Jones, first up. Wow, what a beauty. We'll be back at the creek with lots more action for Heat 2 right after this break. Stay with us, Australia. Here they are, the Group A touring cars race to 8 laps this time around, 3 more than the last time they fought just a few moments ago. And let me tell you, they've only had about 7 or 8 minutes in the pits to work on the cars. And we'll talk about what they've done. It's quite interesting, really. Haven't had a lot of time. And the man that won the first heat, Alan Jones, he was pouncing around like a caged tiger. AJ's on the prowl today. He's got plenty of growl going. And he'll take pole. Remember the start he made in Heat 1 from the second row. Glenn Seaton, he'll be there too. Mark Scaife and Jimmy Richards. That's the front row. Perkins, Jones, Finnegan. Reed went so well, had to spin. Heffernan, Brown, Ellery. But all the focus is on this Ford and Holden battle. And Wayne Gardner showed you the new spoiler on the front of the Ford. You can see the little tips there that really is working very well. It's first time out in anger here at the creek. So some amazing work from Alan Jones. She's pumped up, Wayne. You can see him prowling round the pitch now. All of them they've done to the car is virtually rotated the tyres as we would do in a normal service.
Oh, that's right. Obviously the rear tyres work extremely hard around here. So they've put the rears onto the front and put the front tyres to the rear, which are a lot cooler. So that obviously it's going to get more grip over the consistency. Obviously 8 laps, they're going to get better lap time. So it's a smart thing to do.
There wasn't too much fussing around the cars. Not sure about Larry. They put a little bit of tape on him to where he collided with Reed in Heat 1. That'll be the view you'll have from Larry Perkins's Holden Commodore. But this new wing package with Ford is certainly very effective. And that's the rubber that Alan Jones left from that very spot that you're looking at the Commodore there. What a start he made in Heat 1. Wow. Off pole this time.
It'll be interesting this time to see how AJ gets off the line, because second row is always a little bit easier to get off them. You can actually creep a touch. So
waiting
good
for
to
a
watch.
start. Alan Jones on pole. Glenn Seaton sits beside him. Away they go. Jonesy puts it down again, but look at the Commodore. He's done exactly the same thing that Jonesy did in Heat 1 and gets him too. And the crowd here are gone mad. The crowd here are gone mad. A Commodore leading this time round, and it's Mark Skate. Mark Skate blasted away.
Yes, he had the inside line there, so obviously that's the best line in the corner. He couldn't be taken out wide. The others try to get around the outside, but it's virtually impossible. So I think this is going to prove to be a great race, because obviously the Fords pulled away and made a good gap to the first win in the first race. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get by Skate.
Well, Mark Skate out in front of Alan Jones. Glenn Seaton, look at Larry Perkins, car number 11. Larry's up in fourth. He really got busted out of the first heat, not this time round. That's the view you've got, riding with Larry Perkins here at the creek, chasing the Fords.
Yeah, you can see they use all the curve there. AJ's pushing Skate real hard at the front. He's looking for gaps, but Skate, he's not going to let him. After the first lap, they'll probably settle down, and it'll start to pan out to see what happens. But Skate's trying real hard. He's trying not to let open any gaps there for AJ to stick his nose in.
Amazing stuff here. You can't get any closer. You got them in the creek the second time around. I think they learned some lessons in race number 1, because the Commodores look a bit sharper. No doubt about that. The Falcons really started to run away in Heat 1. That was over 5 laps. This is over 8, so a different story. It'll be interesting to see the drag down the straight. Here we go. The crowd up in front of us. The Holden holds its power. Mark Skate will go through. The left-hander still in front, though. Oh, what a race.
In fact, it looked like the Holden had a little bit top speed on the Falcon. It's a narrow body shell, but sits a bit taller in the wind, so I don't think there's a lot in it, but it could be the Holden's got a little bit more power coming from the Chev engine.
The Winfield Triple Challenge champion Glenn Seaton, not beaten until AJ did it just a few minutes ago. Well, he's bumped Jonesy back into third spot, now chasing Mark Skate. Seaton unleashing his bit of power this time round. But Mark Skate for the Winfield team holding them out at the moment. How close can you get? Not much closer than this.
No, Seaton's looking for gaps everywhere, so I think he's doing a little bit easier than Skate. Skate's probably holding him up a touch, but I don't think there's a lot in it. Glenn is pushing real hard, and AJ obviously on his tail. Out of these three, I really wouldn't like to pick a winner. I'm not sure if Skate can hang on to it.
Looking at now the Holden and the Falcon, as we've seen the Holden being a little bit more competitive this time round. What are you looking at in overall for the first time that you've seen the cars this year together?
Well, you can see, you know, with Ford with the new aero pack, they're certainly a lot more competitive and they're a lot more sharper and direct. But I think the Holden looks like it's still a little bit more power, but the Ford's still a lot wider car and it sits flatter on the road, where the Holden's a lot more narrow, but also penetrates the air and top speed a lot better.
Mark Skate out in front, blasting his way round the creek. And look at the Fords here. We go with a big drag down the start-finish line to give the crowd love. There's up like up in front of us. We've got Ford sitting at one end of the stand, Holden on the other. And they're loving it. But Skate holds out Seaton. Seaton still second. Jonesy losing touch a little bit in third this time round. Won the first heat with a lot of dash. Lap 3, 5 to go. Glenn Seaton climbing all over the back of Mark Skate and the Commodore. You can see the different line there. The Commodore slightly wider, just lets the tail drift out. Seaton, though, tucked in behind him. One mistake here. Can't afford even a little bit of a slip. Lots and lots of pressure. The first time out this year for the Group A cars, and what a season we've got ahead of us.
Right now, Darryl, I think looking at the two cars, the Ford versus the Holden, I'd say the Ford's looking a little bit stronger. It sits flatter, it's more directional, it's not using as much road. At this particular time, I'd say that the Ford's looking a little stronger, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see Glenn actually take Skate. It's going to be tough by him, but it's going to be interesting.
Jonesy locking up the front, the inside front. Did you see that? Locks it up. Comes in behind Seaton, so Jonesy's sick of this. He wants to move up one or two.
I think this also indicates how tough a year it's going to be ahead for all the touring car teams. You know, if this is how close it is, it's certainly going to be one hell of a fight all year.
Well, I know White Water Sports was showing you the English 2-litre series, and it's been fabulous, but I tell you what, so are these things. Look at the grunt. Listen to the noise as they come down the chute. Listen to the crowd. Oh, they're loving this. Everybody's loving it. Hold it out in front of Commodore. Hold it out in front of Ford. At the moment, it's still Seaton second. Jones has a little look to run up the inside. Can't do it. Goes a little wide. You can see Jones, he's trying to set himself up for an inside pass.
Well, that's right. He's thinking 2 or 3 corners ahead where he can actually get either Glenn or Skate. But, yeah, look, he's having a look there. He just not back in, so he just can't quite do it. I think the Holden's got the speed on the straight, and he gets away enough then to make a buffer. But it's going to be tough for Glenn to get around. I think he can do it, but just where? He's trying to work it out.
Well, Seaton gets very, very close to the Commodore, but Jones, he's all over the back of Glenn Seaton, so obviously there's no team orders. They're out there to race leads for. No doubt about that. Larry Perkins doing a good job. He's hanging on this time. Got left behind in Heat 1. No doubt about it. He's holding on this time round. Scaife, though. Mark Scaife. 2-time Bathurst winner. There's the look out in the rear end.
You can see off that corner, the Holden actually jumps off the corner a little stronger. And but on the corners, in the corners and steering up to the corners, the Ford's a little stronger. So, you know, I think it's going to be a tough year, and you can see there's not much between the two cars. And in fact, 5 of them are all bunched up and pretty close together. So I wouldn't like to pick the winner out of this. I think it might get a bit pushy and shovey a bit later on. There could be a few spins.
I had the pleasure of seeing the British 2-litre cars race in Wellington, New Zealand. I tell you what, they are spectacular. They're very good, but they're quiet. They don't make the roar that these things make, the V8s. They're not as spectacular watch as these things. They are great here in Australia, the V8s. The crowd just loving them. Look at the crowd here today.
Sorry, Dole, there's nothing like the sound of a V8. I mean, they sound fantastic. They've obviously got 600 horsepower, these big V8s. They're 5-litre. There's nothing like driving them as well. Being rear-wheel drive, they're a pleasure to drive. They're a real good fun car.
No doubt about that. The dust is flying here at the creek. Well, Skate still out in front of Seaton, from Jones, from Richards to Perkins. Someone's going to have to pull a desperate, I think, because they're so evenly matched, these cars. It's just so hard to get away round.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what Cams have had a real job on their hand about, trying to basically make it equal between the Fords and the Holdens, and it's down to the drivers to see who can win a championship out of that. And I think Cams have done a good job trying to basically make everyone on equal terms.
What we've seen today, there's no doubt about that. Not a struck match between the two makes. Little puffs of dirt, they use all the track. Now Seaton, you can see he's trying to work out just how he can hustle and muscle his way past the Mark Skaife. Skaife very experienced these days now.
Well, Skaife will be blocking the corners as well, running up the inside tight so that he doesn't give Glenn a chance to rush up the inside. Obviously, the Holden's got the speed on the straight. Glenn pulls out into the cool air there to get some cool air to the engine, cool it down. And obviously, he's working now to a plan to try and work out where to pass him. It's going to be tough, but I think he can do it.
On lap 6, the speed of the Holden Commodore against the Ford down the main straight. Another good win to the Holden that time around, but Seaton now closes right up around this part of the circuit, and traffic coming into play. Now this could be important.
It also looks like the Ford's a little stronger on braking as well. I suppose that's probably an added advantage of their new wings. It gives them a bit more downforce, and obviously can use a lot stronger brake calipers as well.
Skaife still leading this heat 2. They're on lap 6, 2 to go when they go past the checker once again. Jones still hanging on to Seaton. They've dropped off Larry Perkins slightly. It's out of these 3, no doubt about that.
And also Jim Richards has dropped off. I'm not sure where he's disappeared to. I think that was him in the background further. He went out wide and touched a wall. I'm not really sure, but he's disappeared off the front pace.
Got to say, I didn't see that happen because I was watching the battle up in front, so intense. So Jimmy Richards out of the picture. Well done, Wayne. And we've got Larry Perkins now in fourth, but he's dropped back a little off this bunch.
Yeah, Glenn's looking in all the corners. He just can't work out where to do it. He's doing it tough. There's Jimmy. He's had an off, definitely.
Yeah.
Looks like a flat front tyre.
Got plenty of dust all over the car, so he's bringing it back home. Down we come again for the second last time. This will be lap 7. Mark Scaife still in front. Glenn Seaton, second place. Teammate Alan Jones sits in third.
Yeah, the front trio have actually pulled away from Larry Perkins. He's dropped off the pace, and obviously he's going to have a steady fourth. But Scaife's desperate to hang on to this first place. He's blocking the corners, actually run up the inside, not leaving too much of a gap for Glenn to have a go, which is the right way to do it. You've got to try and protect your lead.
Massive crowd in attendance here today. Very hot conditions. Hard work out there for the drivers. Their first shot at anger for the year of 1994. And boy, what a year it's going to be if this is any indication. Nothing in the Holden and Ford battle so far. The Ford with a new package, a new wing package, certainly a lot more stable, and the Holden still has that little bit of extra grunt down the straight, as we've seen for the past 7 laps of this particular race. They've virtually been going in on even terms, and the Holden's won its ground each time.
Yeah, Glenn's pushing real hard. You see him lock the inside wheel onto that corner. That just happens when the car, you start to turn in, it gets a little bit of body roll, the weight comes off the inside of the wheel and it locks. It's quite a common thing.
Mark Scaife takes slightly different line with the Commodore there. Seaton probably dropped just a couple of metres, brings it back now. Jones staying in touch. Just waiting because...
Most definitely the Holden has the horsepower in the straight, but that's something that Ford can work at. Ford actually have the cornering at the moment, but obviously during the season I'll work at the horsepower to make it equal to the Holden. So the Holden guys have got to work on a bit more handling and a bit more body roll.
Jimmy Richards takes the other Commodore, the Winfield car, into the pits with a flat tyre. He's just rolling it down the road. There it is. You could see it going down, so whether that was the cause of the off, we don't know. But it's still Mark Scaife. This is the last lap. Glenn Seaton will pull everything out of here and don't ride Jonesy off either. He won the first one in good style. He's dropped back a little bit this time round, though. Final lap. Look at Seaton underneath him.
That's right. Glenn's setting himself up now. I think probably to pass him around into the stock corner, the right-hander. He's looking everywhere, so he's obviously doing it easier than Scaife. So he's trying to set it up and trying to set what's going to happen. I'd say probably the next corner after this will be the one he'll have a go on brakes.
Until this meeting, Glenn Seaton had not even dropped the heat in the Winfield Triple Challenge. Jones broke that up for him, and now desperately trying the brakes lock up. Everything locks up, the head goes down, and look at Jonesy. He's closed up too. It could be a dash from the top of the hill.
Yeah, Scaife left no room for Glenn to pass, so Glenn's going to take, I think, a steady second. And AJ's still trying to grab that second back off Glenn, so it's a tough race, and you can see there is no team orders here between the two Falcons.
No doubt about that as they blast their way round. Here they come. Crowd go up in front of us. It's a drag. It's a drag to the line. Mark Scaife will get it though. Oh boy, only a year ago they were booing this bloke when he drove a GTR. Now he's getting a lot of support. Now he's driving a Holden. How times change. Glenn Seaton second, Alan Jones third, and that was a ripper race. Just recapping the results of that great race, race 2 of the touring cars, Mark Scaife and the Commodore took the points this time round from Glenn Seaton. Aboard the Falcon, Alan Jones, teammate Falcon, also Larry Perkins in the Commodore, Steve Reed in another Commodore. And at the moment, Barry Sheen pit side with a winner.
Scaife, my son, great start.
Yeah, it was a good start. I think that third alley's the best off the line. Jonesy's done the job, and there's lots of grip up the inside there. So, yeah, got a good run and then really just had to defend.
And what about the end? Bit of a struggle to keep Glenn at bay?
Yeah, it was, for sure. The balance of our car in some corners is much worse than Glenn's, and in other places it's better. So, across the board, we're probably doing similar speed, but if I was behind him, I could probably harass him also. So, you know, let's see what happens.
Look, it looked like the Falcon was better in the corner. It looked like it handled better, yet you had the horsepower down the straight.
What I was doing is I was slowing up right in the middle of the corner and getting on the throttle real hard, so probably it made it a little bit hard for Glenn, and our car probably looked a little bit better in terms of horsepower than it really should have been.
Good job.
Thanks, Jenny.
Lovely.
Well, there he is, Mark Scaife, 1 Heat 2. It's